Hello everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day from wherever you're joining us in the world today. My name's Deb and I'm a Microsoft IT trainer, and I'm very excited to be hosting and guiding you through this training course on Microsoft Teams. Now, I've been using Microsoft products for about 25 years now, and over that time I've really got to see how each application has evolved from around the mid-90s until the present day. And in comparison to other applications, Teams is a fairly new addition to the Microsoft suite of applications, but a very welcome one at that. With the introduction of Office 365 came Skype, a communications tool that allowed you to chat and make calls with colleagues. And really, the evolution of Skype is what brings us now to Teams. Teams integrates all of the functionality you loved in Skype and adds a whole host of collaboration features and utilities to really supercharge teamwork and collaboration. Now, if you've never used Skype, Teams, or maybe even Office 365 before, I'm going to start out by just giving you some information about Teams and why it might be useful for you. Microsoft Teams is a chat-based collaboration tool available from Microsoft. It's a hub for teamwork that fuses group chat, video and audio meetings, file sharing, and other collaboration utilities to really bring people together no matter where they are located. As part of Office 365, Teams is fully integrated with all of the Microsoft Office suite of applications, making it really simple to do things like share files, folders, content, and really supercharge how you're working with all of your colleagues around the world. Microsoft Teams is available to Office 365 commercial customers with one of the following plans: Office 365 Business Premium, Business Essentials, and Enterprise versions E1, E3, and E5. Microsoft Teams is a great way to stay connected to colleagues within your organization, and it also enables you to work in collaboration with team members who work remotely or in different locations. So with that said, let's look at some of the main features of Microsoft Teams. Teams is predominantly known for chat. It provides a modern conversation experience using persistent and threaded chats to keep everyone engaged in the conversation. You can do things like reply to comments, like comments, share files and videos. You can @mention others and also send private messages. You can also add a fun element into your conversations using the inbuilt emojis, stickers, GIFs, and custom memes. You can also participate in voice and video conferences, taking your meetings completely online. You can share your desktop and your applications with meeting participants and collaborate on documents. Teams is essentially a hub for teamwork. It pulls through the full capabilities of Office 365. So applications like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, SharePoint, OneNote, Planner, Delve, and Power BI are all integrated into Teams, so everyone has all of the information and tools they need when they need them. For example, you can create a document in Word, you can save it to your OneDrive cloud storage, and then you can share it easily with others in Teams. Everything is fully integrated, making Teams a true hub for seamless teamwork. You can also customize your team. Not all teams are created equal, and not all teams are the same. You can customize your team to suit your particular needs. For example, you may wish to add tabs to access frequently used documents and cloud services. Finally, Microsoft Teams is secure. Data is encrypted in transit and at rest, and Microsoft Teams supports all major compliance standards and is hosted out of Microsoft's network of data centers, automatically provisioned within Office 365 and managed centrally. So sit back, relax, grab that cup of coffee, and join me to explore the wonderful world of Teams. So if you're ready, let's get started. Hello everyone and welcome back to our course on Microsoft Teams. Section 1 is done, it is out the way. We are now kicking off with Section 2. And in this section, we're really going to explore all of the elements of creating a team and starting conversations. So creating a team is really the fundamental first step when it comes to working in teams. Now you'll see that currently in that left-hand menu bar, I'm clicked on the Teams icon. Now this is where it will display any teams that you've either created yourself or teams that you've joined. So currently I just have one team, it's called Train IT Now. I created this team and I also created 3 separate channels underneath my team. Now we're going to talk more about channels in other modules, but in this module I really just want to focus on how you create a new team and also how you can add members to that team, whether they are internal within your organization or external members. So let's start out with creating a team from scratch. If you jump onto this page, what you'll see is at the bottom, you have a little link here that says join or create a team. So this seems like a good place to start. Let's click it. And here we go. We now have 2 different options. We can create a team or we can join a team using a code. Now in this particular module, we're all about creating a team. So I'm going to select create team. Now again, we're going through this sort of wizard style dialog box. We have 2 options. We can build a team from scratch, or we can create a team from an existing Microsoft or Office 365 group. Now, if you've never come across Office 365 groups before, they're sort of similar to Teams in a way. It's a group that you can set up and you can do it from within your Outlook. You can add people to that group and you can share things amongst those people. So what it's saying here is if you already have a group in Office 365, you could use that as the basis for your new team. So when I might use that is if I have a group that I've created in my Outlook and maybe I've added 10 different people to it, 10 people who are working on a specific project, instead of starting or creating a new team from scratch, if I want a very similar team, I could build off of that Office 365 group that I already have. It's going to cut down on the amount of work I need to do. Now in this case, I'm going to build a team from scratch. You then need to specify what kind of team this is going to be. And if you remember in a previous module, I did briefly talk about this. The team that I already have created, so my Train IT Now team, I created that as an org-wide team. And you'll see that org-wide is one of the options that we have here. So what that basically means is that everyone in the organization automatically joins. So nobody has to be invited. I don't have to add members. It's a team that everyone is automatically a part of if they are within my organization. So essentially, if they share the same domain. Now we do have 2 other options. We have private and we have public. Now with a private team, people need permission to join. So private teams can only be joined if the team owner adds them to that particular team. Private teams also can't be searched for unless you've made that team discoverable. So if you want somebody to be able to find the team within Teams, but then request permission to join, then you need to make sure the private team is discoverable. Otherwise, it won't even appear in the search results. Public teams, on the other hand, are visible to everyone and they can be joined without getting the approval from the team owner. So again, which one of these you select is really determined by the kind of team that you're creating and the kind of work you're going to be doing within those team channels. Now in this example, we're going to select public and I now need to give my team a name. So I'm going to call this team Northwind Traders. And you can always add a description Once you're happy with it, click on the Create button. It now goes away and it creates the team. And you can just see in the screen behind, it has actually created that team and added it to my teams list. But I'm now being asked to add members to Northwind Traders. And it says start typing a name, distribution list, or mail-enabled security group to add to your team. So I'm going to add 2 of my team members to this team. So the first person I'm going to add is Adam. And you can see that because he's part of my organisation, he automatically pops up in my list. I'm also going to add Ben. And those are the only 2 people that I'm going to add at this stage. And I'm going to click the Add button. So now I have both of those listed as members, and you can see you do get the option to bump up the privileges for one or both of these people. So I could make them both owners if I wanted to, which means they have full access to execute tasks, admin tasks on this particular team. Now at the moment, I'm happy with keeping them both as members. And I'm going to say close. And there we go. I've very quickly created a new team and I can now see that in my teams list. What you'll also notice is that Teams has automatically created a channel for me. So General is a channel that will be created every single time you create a team. Now, you don't have to keep this channel. You can go in, you can delete it, you can rename it to something more useful if you want to, but it is quite a nice starting point. Now, just so you have an idea as to what happens on the other side, both Adam and Ben will receive an alert in their activity area, which will let them know that I've added them to this new team. And they will also both see that Northwind Traders team appear in their teams list, just like it is in mine. So they can then jump in, start having conversations, meetings, sharing files. So very, very straightforward. Another thing to note is that now I've set up this particular team. If you look up in the right-hand corner, you can see there it's telling me that this is an organization. Channel content is accessible to everyone in your organization. And that's because I set this up as a public team. Now with each team you create, you have these 3 dots next to your team, which will give you some more options in a drop-down list. And there's lots of really, really useful things in here. And we're going to go through a lot of these in the following modules. But for now, I just want to show you again very quickly how to create a different type of team. We're going to create a private team this time. So I'm going to create another team, but this one's going to be slightly different. It's going to be a private team. I'm going to show you how you can again add internal members, but also how you can add guests or external members outside of your organization. So let's jump back down to join or create a team. We're going to say create team. I'm going to build a team from scratch, and it's going to be a private team. I'm going to call it leadership team, and I'm not going to add a description at this point, and I'm going to say create. You can see that team's been created just behind, and it's now asking me to add members to leadership team. So again, I'm going to add Adam, who is within my organization, and also Ben, who is also within my organization. But now what happens if I want to add someone outside of my organization? So I'm just going to use an old email address of mine. I'm going to say add, but you can see here it hasn't really appeared to work. It hasn't added it into the list, and my add button is also grayed out, so I can't click to try and add that again. Now this is something really important. If you are struggling to add guests to your teams, it might be that the setting in the background hasn't been enabled. So if you are the owner of a team, what I would suggest you do is jump into the admin area. So I'm going to show you very quickly. Let's close this down. Let's go up to our application launcher. I'm going to go to Office 365, and I'm going to select the admin option. Now there's a whole load of stuff in here. It's a little bit difficult to navigate if you're not sure what you're looking for, but I'm going to expand users and I'm going to say guest users. And the first thing you'll see at the top here is allow everyone to collaborate remotely by giving your guests access in Teams. Guest access in Teams may take up to 24 hours. So you need to click on this link to allow guest access. So currently it's telling me that I'm not allowing guest access, which is why I'm struggling to add someone outside of my organization. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to toggle this button to on. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to say save. Now, as you can see there, it can take 2 to 24 hours for these changes to take effect. So if I jump back to my leadership team, if I want to go in and try and add that member again, what I can do is click on these 3 dots and select add member. And that's going to take me back to that screen that we're pretty familiar with. Now, it's only been a few seconds, so I'm pretty sure that it's not going to have updated in order for me to add this person in. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to this later when we're doing something else and just add this person into the leadership team. But I really wanted to highlight there just that little option that you need to turn on in the admin area. Now, the final thing I want to show you here in relation to creating teams is the final option that we haven't discussed yet. And that is creating a Microsoft team based off of an Office 365 group. So I'm quickly going to jump across to my Outlook. And if we scroll all the way to the bottom of our inbox, you can see here I have something called groups. And as I said, if you've never used this before, you can create various different groups, add people to those groups, have conversations, so on and so forth. And you can see I have a group set up in here called the Friday Drinks Crew. Now, it might be that I want to essentially convert this into a Microsoft team. And you can see here, I have 5 members of this particular group. There's myself, Adam, Ben, Ryan, and Vicky. So a really quick and easy way of me being able to create this team is to utilize this group as a template, kind of. So let's jump back to Microsoft Teams and click on Create Team. So this time we're going to say create from an existing Office 365 group or team. I'm going to select Office 365 group, and it's going to pull through all of the groups that I have set up. I only have one, it's the Friday Drinks Crew, and I'm going to say create. And there we go. It hasn't asked me to add any members because I already have members in this team. And if I want to view those members, if I click on those 3 dots, I can say Manage Team, and it's going to show me all of those people who are part of that Office 365 group. So it's a very efficient way of creating a team that you already have set up as a group. You'll also see in this screen we have an Add Member button in the top corner, which makes it super quick to go in and add any additional members. Phew, so that is it on creating teams. We've seen how to create a private team, a public team, and also how to convert an Office 365 group to a team and add members. In the next module in section 2, I'm going to show you how you can join an existing team that you didn't create. So please join me for that. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our course on Microsoft Teams. We're down in section 2 where we're looking at how to create and manage teams. And in the previous module, we saw how you can create a team in 3 different ways. In this module, I want to show you how you can join an existing team that you didn't create, and also how join requests are handled. So if somebody requests to join a team that you've created, where you go to see those requests, and how you accept them. Now, if you recall, we created this Friday Drinks Crew team, and this was based off of an Office 365 group. And the members of this team are all people who were members of the Office 365 group. And this is a private group, so anybody who wants to join this group is going to need to request access. So it might be that I want to invite Adam to the Friday Drinks Crew private group. So what I essentially did was I clicked the three dots and I selected the Get Link to Team option. So this gives me a direct link to this team. I copied it and then I pasted it into an email and I sent it to Adam. So as soon as Adam received that email, he clicks on the link. It asks him to join the group, and then it tells him that his request is pending, because I need to go and approve this request because it is a private group. So where do all of these pending requests live? Well, again, if we click on the three dots and jump to Manage Team, you'll see running across the top, you have a section for pending requests. And you can see there is Adam waiting patiently for me to either accept or deny his request. So I'm going to say accept, and he's now been added as a team member into this particular team. So pretty simple to accept requests. Now, another way that you can get people to join your team is by generating a team code. Now we're going to stay in this screen and we're going to jump across to Settings. And you'll see that there is an option here for team code, and it says share this code so people can join the team directly and you won't get any join requests. So whoever you send the team code to, they can join the team using the code, and it just means that you're not getting loads and loads of requests come into pending, which you then have to go in and check and approve or deny. So in order to generate a code for any of your teams, if you click on Settings, expand team code and click the Generate button. And you can see there we go. I could then copy that to my clipboard, jump across to my mail and compose a new message with the team code. And then essentially they can use that code to join the group. So now let's look at this in reverse. I'm back in my Outlook email and I can see that Adam has sent me a code to join the customer service group that he's created. So I'm going to double click and copy that code, Control-C. I'm going to go back to Teams and I'm going to click on the Join or Create a Team link. And you can see here the first thing we have is join a team with a code. I'm going to click and I'm going to paste that code in and I'm going to say join team. And there we go. You can now see that the customer service team has been added to my teams list. Now remember, if the group is public, then you won't need a code or to request to join. And if it's organizational wide, then you will automatically be a member of that group. So it's only really private groups that you need to request to join. Hopefully that's cleared that up. That's it for this module. I will see you in the next one. Hello everyone, this is Deb and welcome back to our course on Microsoft Teams. In the previous two modules, we've seen how to create a team and add internal and external members. And we've also seen how you can join a team as well. Now in this module, I just want to expand a little bit on the Teams idea and just show you some options that you have when it comes to managing your teams and team members. Now before we do that, I'm going to jump back to something that we started in a previous module but didn't quite finish. If you recall, when I was walking you through the process of adding external guests as members, we had to change a setting in the admin area, and that setting takes between 2 and 24 hours to update. So what I'm going to do now that a few hours has passed is that I'm going to go back in and I'm going to add that external member into my Northwind Traders team. So I'm going to click the three dots, I'm going to say Add Member, and I'm going to type in the email address of the external member. And you can see now this already looks slightly different to before. It's recognizing the email address, and if I select it, the Add button is now active. And you can see in brackets it says that this person is a guest. So I can say Add, and that person is now added into this particular team. And if I just want to double check that, I can click on the three dots again. I can say Manage Team. I can expand members and guests. And you can see there she is sitting at the top, but her role is slightly different to the other two. So both Adam and Ben are members, whereas Dasha is a guest. So now that's done, let's take a look at some of these other options you have in this screen for managing your teams. Now, as we're on this members page, you can see here at the top, it's telling me that this team has external guests. I have a search option, so this isn't too helpful for me at the moment because I have so few members, but if you had lots and lots of members in a team, it can be quite helpful just to be able to search for somebody by typing in their name. You can see all members are split down by their roles, so as I'm the owner, I'm at the top here, and then we have the rest of the members and guests. And for both Adam and Ben, I can bump up their access to owner if I want to, which is exactly what I'm going to do for Adam and give him a few more privileges. And you can see as soon as I do that, Adam has now moved up into that owner's area. I could also choose to add another member from this screen by clicking on the Add Member button. And I'm going to invite Vicky along, and I'm going to keep her as a regular member and click Close. So some very useful but simple member administration on this page. The next tab along is the Channels tab, and we haven't really spoken about channels yet. We're actually going to do that in the next module. We're going to create some channels and we'll come back to this area then. Next we have Settings. So this is where you can customize some of the settings relating to your team. Now the first one here, Team Picture, let's expand that. I'm going to actually change this to a different picture. So I'm going to say Change Picture. I'm going to upload a picture. And I'm going to select the North Wind logo. And I'm going to say Save. And there we go. So it's quite nice to be able to customize your teams, give them a logo, give them a picture. It all helps with the personalization of your team's application. Underneath that, I have member permissions. So this is what I will allow anybody who has the role of member in a team. These are the things they're allowed to do. Now, I will say it is worth going through each one of these and reviewing it and either enabling or disabling whichever ones you want to allow or deny. Now, I'm fairly happy with members being able to do all of these things, so I'm going to leave all of those selected. And you have a very similar thing here for guest permissions, but obviously not quite as many options. So in this one, I could allow guests to create and update channels. I don't want them to be able to do that. And I can allow guests to delete channels, and I definitely don't want them to be able to do that. So I'm going to leave both of those unticked. Let's expand app mentions. Now again, app mentions isn't something we've discussed yet, so we're going to come back to this section a little bit later on in the course. Team code we saw in the previous module. This is where we can generate a code which we can then send to colleagues, which will enable them to join whichever team this code has been generated for without us needing to approve their request. We have a fun stuff section. So here we're just really saying if we want to enable things like Giphies, stickers, memes, custom memes in our conversations, and you'll see how we can utilize these when we start having a conversation back and forth. You can also choose what to filter out. So currently it says filter out inappropriate content using one of the settings below. Now mine's set to moderate. I'm actually going to change that to strict. And then finally, we have tags at the bottom. And again, tags I haven't spoken to you much about, but what I'm going to say here is that all members can add tags. So I've changed a few things there in my settings. You'll also notice that there is no save button, but all these changes you've made will save despite there being no save button. We then have an analytics tab. So this just gives me really a summary of this team, tells me how many users, how many messages, how many apps I have, so on and so forth. And obviously, as we start using this team, this section is going to get more and more populated. And then finally, we have an apps area. So this is just showing me the apps that I currently have installed for this particular team. So I have Forms, OneNote, Planner, Power BI, Praise, and SharePoint. And again, there's a whole load of apps that you can add into Teams to really expand its capabilities. So that's pretty much what you have lurking underneath this Manage Team area. Now, some other things when it comes to the management of your teams, you do have a hide option as well. So if I wanted to hide Northwind Traders, I could say hide, and it essentially removes it from my list. So if I maybe no longer needed to update that particular team, I can hide it. And it moves it down into this hidden teams area, which I could collapse up and nobody would know it was there. If I want to pull that back, I can click the three dots again and just say show. You also have the option to leave a team. So if maybe you've been part of the Northwind Traders project and then all the tasks that you needed to complete for this project have been completed and you're not really needed on this project anymore, you could choose to leave this team. So essentially, you'll no longer see any updates or any files that are shared for this particular team. And finally, you can also edit your team as well. So if I wanted to go in and maybe change the name, change the description, or even change the privacy settings, then I can definitely jump into here and modify those as well. Now, another quick little tip here, which is really how you organize your teams in this teams list. If you don't particularly like the way it's organized, you can move your teams around. So to do this, I'm just going to collapse up all of my teams just to make it a bit easier. And it might be that Northwind Traders is the one that I work on the most, so I want that one to be at the top. All I need to do is click, drag, and drop. So very, very simple to organize your teams by dragging and dropping. Now, one other thing you may notice is that if you're the one who created the team, so if you're a team owner, you'll have a couple more options in that menu than if you're not the team owner. So for example, this customer service team, this isn't one I created. This was created by Adam. When I click the three dots, you can see I have a few different options, but something I don't have are things like delete the team. Whereas I do have that for teams that I've created where I'm the owner. I can go in and I'm the only one who can delete that team. So just be aware of that as well. Your options will be slightly different depending on if you're the owner of the team or not. And finally, right at the top here, we have a filter icon, and you can see the keyboard shortcut for that is Control-Shift+F. And this will just allow you to filter by team or channel. So again, if you find yourself with a lot of teams in your list, it can be useful to just filter for the particular thing that you're looking for. So I've typed in customer and it's pulled back just that customer service team. And you can also use this to filter on channels as well once you've added them. So again, if I expand this one, I have a channel called marketing. So I could choose to search by marketing and it's going to pull that channel back. So that's it. Those are the different options that you have when it comes to managing different elements of your team and also the members from within your team. That's it for this module. Please join me in the next. Hello everyone and welcome back to our course on Microsoft Teams. In this section we've been taking a look so far at how to create teams in numerous different ways and how to manage members of those teams. In this module, I want to speak to you very quickly about channels. Now, channels are essentially kind of like subfolders within your team. So if you can kind of relate it back to something like Outlook, you have your team as your inbox, and then you can have your channels as similar to your subfolders. And channels are a great way of housing conversations related to a specific topic. So for example, with this Northwind Traders team that I have at the top here, I have one channel so far that's called General, and that's the one that's automatically created when I create the team. But I can add additional channels. So for example, I might want to add a channel related to sales pitches. I might want to add a channel related to marketing, or maybe a channel related to budget. And it just means that you have separate channels for each of those conversations, so you don't have everybody just in the team itself talking about lots and lots of different topics. So it keeps it targeted. So in this module, I really just want to show you how you can add channels and some of the options you have for managing your channels as well. So let's go with this Northwind Traders team at the top here. As I've mentioned, we have a general channel. Now you'll see that when you click on more options, you don't actually have the option to delete that channel. So because this is a default one that's been created by teams, it's always going to be there and it's always going to be at the top of your list. However, you can add to it and you can have your own channels. So to add a channel, if you go up to your team, click on the three dots and you'll see you have an option there for Add Channel. We now need to give our channel a name. We can add a description. And then we can set a level of privacy. So in general, I tend to keep mine on standard, which means that this channel is accessible to everyone on the team. However, you do have a private option in there as well, which means it's only accessible to a specific group of people that you specify from within that team. And you also have a checkbox at the bottom, which says automatically show this channel in everyone's channel list. So whoever has access to this Northwind Traders team, when I add this new channel, as long as I've got that box ticked, this new channel is going to appear for everybody. So let's click on Add. And there we go, I have my new sales pitch channel. I'm going to add one more, so same process, three dots, Add Channel. And there we go. And you'll see within each channel, you have at the bottom an area where you can start chatting or start a new conversation. And we are going to move on to that in the following modules. And you also have your links at the top for your posts, files, wiki, so on and so forth. As I said, all of that we're going to discuss in the following modules. So very quick and easy to add channels to your teams. Let's just very briefly explore some of the other options that you have related to your channels. I'm going to click on the three dots again. Now the top one here, channel notifications. So this really allows you to customize if you want to be told if there are new posts posted to this specific channel. So in this case, marketing. So the option at the top there is notify me every time there is a new post in this channel. Now I'm going to turn that on and I'm going to say only show in my feed. Now, if I want to see any replies that have come into that new post, I would select include all replies as well. And I can also specify if I want to be mentioned each time this channel is mentioned. And I'm going to leave that as banner and feed and click on save. So you have a few different settings that you can change in there. You have an option to pin channels as well. So if I click on pin, you'll see I now get a new group at the top here called Pinned, and it's pinned that specific marketing channel in the Northwind Traders team. Now you might want to do this if you have specific channels within other teams that you utilize most frequently. So maybe I'm always chatting in the Train IT Now sales channel. I might choose to also pin that one at the top of my list. It just makes it super easy for me to access those frequently used channels. And of course, as with everything, if you want to remove them, you can just very simply unpin those channels. You can choose to hide your channel, and you'll see by doing that, it doesn't actually hide it. It just puts it in this italic font. So it's more like a notification to you that you've hidden that channel. You have a manage channel option as well. And there's just a few things that you can change in here. You can change some of the permissions, so you can set channel moderation preferences. So if you want to be able to moderate your channel, then you could, if you wanted to, turn this setting on and adjust some of these settings. Now, I'm fairly happy to have channel moderation turned off. I can also specify who can start a new post. So I'm going to say that everyone in the channel can start a new post. Or I have a second option there, everyone except guests, so more external people can start a new post. So again, set that to whatever suits you. And then we have an analytics tab. And again, not much action in this channel so far. It's just telling me that I have 5 users and 6 apps within this channel. So some basic information. Now, another thing that's fairly interesting is this get email address option. So what you need to be aware of is that each channel has its own email address essentially. So what somebody could do effectively is send an email to the channel email address, and it will appear in the feed as a conversation which people can then reply to. So this is essentially the email address of this channel. I can choose to copy it, and I can then paste that into an email and send it to someone else. So as you can see here, if I click back on the marketing channel, somebody has utilized that email address that I've sent them. They've sent an email from their Gmail account, and it's posted into the marketing channel conversation feed. So now everyone can see that email. And you have an option to download the original email as well. Now, one thing that's worth noting here is you can't reply to the email essentially from here. This is now a conversation, so you can reply to the post from within Teams, but it won't send an email back to that person. You also have an option to get a link to this channel. So this is very similar. If you want to very quickly link somebody directly to this channel, you can copy that link and you can send it to them in an email. And then you have an edit this channel option. So this is where you can come if you need to make any changes to the channel name or if you want to update the description. And then a final couple of options we have in this little menu. Connectors is something we're going to discuss a little bit later on. So I'm going to leave that there for now. And you also have a delete this channel option. Now, it's worth noting that the general channels, you do not have that option. You can't delete those general channels as they're generated automatically, but any that you create, then you can delete the channel if they're no longer needed. So that's it. Pretty much very simple to create new channels and manage your channels through that pop-out menu. So that's pretty much it. Very, very simple to add new channels to your teams and also manage the information within those channels. That's it for this module. I will see you in the next one. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our course on Microsoft Teams. In the previous module, I showed you how you can create new channels within your teams. And now in this module, we're actually going to start to have a conversation. Finally, after all of these modules, we get around to actually typing something to someone. And really, one of the big features of Teams is the chat area, or the conversation area as it's more commonly known. Now, I'm currently clicked on the general channel in the Northwind Traders team, and you can see that there on the left. And what you're looking at in the main part of the screen is you can see that I've added some people to this team. Then underneath that, underneath the Today heading, it's showing me that email that came in via that email address into this team channel. And right at the bottom, you can see I have a little area that says Start a New Conversation, type @ to mention someone. Now, we're not going to talk about mentions in this particular module. All I want to do here is make sure that you're comfortable with sending messages, responding to messages, so on and so forth. Now, I'm sure we've all used systems like this previously, so this isn't going to be rocket science, but just to make sure that we are all on the same page. One thing I need to point out to you is that each channel has its own chat. So you can start a conversation at the bottom here, whichever channel you are in. So let's jump back to General. And you can see there I'm getting a little pop-up message which is saying to me I can reply to the message above or start a new conversation below. And that is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to click in the box at the bottom and I'm just going to post a message to the general channel in the Northwind Traders team. So I've typed out my message. If I want to send this message to the other people who are in this channel, I can either hit the Enter key or I can click on this little paper plane button to send. And it's going to post that message to the channel. So I can see there that Ben has just responded to the message that I've put in there. And you can see underneath that I have a reply button as well. So I'm going to click on reply. And again, I can hit enter just to send that reply back. And I can see now that Adam has joined the conversation as well. And once again, I have a reply button underneath and I can carry on replying. And you'll see this is almost like a threaded conversation because all of these replies coming in are related to my initial post. So I have a collapse all button if I want to collapse them up just to save on some space, or I can expand those replies out again. Now, if I carry on replying to this conversation, it's going to carry on being a threaded conversation of this original post. If I want to start a completely new conversation that isn't related to this, I would just go back to my box at the bottom and start a new conversation. So as you can see, really simple just to post messages and also reply to messages. Over the next few modules, we're going to expand on this idea and I'm going to show you how you can utilize some of those icons at the bottom so you can start formatting your messages, adding attachments and fun things like GIFs, emojis, custom memes, so on and so forth. So please join me in the next module and we'll get on to that. Hello everyone and welcome back to our course on Microsoft Teams. In the previous module, we started to discuss conversations within channels in Teams, and you've seen how simple it is to post messages and also reply to messages. You've also seen how Teams uses threaded conversations to keep all the replies with the original message. In this module, I just want to talk to you a little bit about @mentions. Now, @mentions might be something that you're already familiar with, but maybe don't realize in other applications. So the two that spring to mind would be if you are somebody who uses Twitter, or maybe if you're somebody who uses Instagram, you're probably very familiar with using the @ symbol and then someone's name in order to direct a message or a conversation towards that person. And you can use it in exactly the same way in Teams. They're just called @mentions in Teams as opposed to @replies. So let's just very briefly take a look at how @mentions work. So I'm down in the general channel in the Northwind Traders team, and I've got a couple of different conversations going on here with Ben and Adam. And you can see this conversation at the bottom here. I've basically asked the members of my channel if they have a copy of the trade report from last month. And you can see that Adam has replied. He says, no, I think Ryan has it. And Ben's also dropped in a reply there saying, nope, denied, and then a little bit of a laughy emoji. And you can see that Adam is also asking if Ryan is a member of this channel. And he's actually not. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add Ryan to this channel. Now there's a couple of ways I could do this. I could go up to my Northwind Traders team. I can click the three dots and I can add a member. Alternatively, I can scroll up to the top and you can see here it says add more people. And I'm going to add Ryan. There he is. I'm going to select him and click on Add. So Ryan will now get a notification letting him know that I've added him to this channel, and now anything I direct his way, he can reply to. So I'm going to click the reply button at the bottom here, and I'm going to direct this next comment towards Ryan. And you can see there I've got a helpful little pop-up that says notify someone about your message by typing @ before their name, which is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to say @. I'm going to start to type in Ryan. There he is. And I can say, hi Ryan. Do you have a copy of the trade report? And I can hit enter to send that. Now, what happens when you @mention someone is that they will get a notification in their activity stream just to let them know that a comment's been directed towards them. And you'll see that now that Ryan has also @mentioned me, it's showing in red, and I have the little @ symbol just next to the message. Also, if I jump across to activity, it tells me at the top, Ryan has mentioned me. So really nice and simple to direct things to other people. You can also direct things to multiple people. So I might want to direct something to Adam and also to Ben. And both Adam and Ben will now receive a notification that they've been @mentioned in this conversation. So @mentions, super simple to direct conversations to a specific person. That's it for this module. I will see you in the next one. Hello everyone, this is Deb and welcome back to our course on Microsoft Teams. In this section so far, we've been looking at posting messages. You've seen how to post messages, respond to messages, and in the last module, we looked at utilizing @mentions in order to target our messages to a specific person. In this module, I just want to show you how to edit any messages that you've sent, and also if you've sent something in error, how you can delete that message. So we're still in our Northwind Traders team. We're in that general channel and we're following a couple of conversations in here. So I'm just going to expand all of the replies to this topic down here. And this is the conversation where I asked for the trade report. Adam said that he thinks Ryan has it. I added Ryan to the channel and then I @replied to him to ask him for a copy of the report. Now he replied to me and said yes that he does and he's going to send it to me, and what I've done is I've sent a thanks back to Ryan, but I've accidentally selected the wrong emoji. I've selected the kissing emoji, and you know, as much as I like Ryan, probably not the most professional thing for me to send, so I might want to edit this message and just reselect the emoji that I wanted to select initially. So very simple to edit a message. Hover your mouse over the message and what you'll see if you cast your eyes over to the right hand side is that you'll see a whole bunch of icons and then you'll see 3 dots on the end. So let's click on the 3 dots and you have an edit option in here. So this is going to take you back into your message. I can now delete out that emoji and I'm just going to do a smiley face to be on the safe side. Once you're happy with the edit that you've made, you have a cross to cancel or you have a tick to accept. So I'm going to say done. And there we go. And I now get a little message there letting me know that I've edited that message. Now it's worth noting that you can't edit messages that other people have sent, even if you are the owner of this team. So for example, here, the message that Ryan has sent, if I click the 3 dots, I don't have an edit option in my menu. So you can only edit your own messages. You can also delete your own messages as well. So if I just scroll up to this one just here, once again, if I click on the 3 dots next to the message, you can see I have a delete option. So if I click delete, that message is now deleted. Now I can see that little message there that says this message has been deleted in my Teams, but just know that once you delete one of your own messages, there's no indication of that deletion to any of the other channel members. So as far as they're concerned, there was no message there. You'll also see that if you change your mind, you do have an undo option as well, which is going to put that back and repost that message to everyone's channel. So very simple to edit and delete your messages. That's it for this module. Please join me in the next one. Hello everyone and welcome back to our course on Microsoft Teams. This is still Deb and we have been looking at conversations in channels within Teams, and I've got quite a nice little conversation going on between me and my other team members. Now, we've seen how to post messages, respond to messages, @mention people, and also edit and delete messages. What I want to talk about in this module is liking messages and also bookmarking or saving messages of importance that you want to refer to later. So what we currently have on the screen is the conversation that I've been involved in. And you can see where we left off in the last module. I'd asked Ryan for the trade report for last month, and it looks like he has now sent that through in the form of a Word document. Now, what you might also notice, which is slightly different to the previous module, is on the right-hand side, you can see that I have some little emojis appearing. So there's a little laughy face emoji with a number 2 next to it, and then we have 2 thumbs up as we move further down the conversation. So these are likes or reactions to posts, and it just lets you know that people either like what you've posted or they find something particularly funny. It adds a bit of interest into your general conversations. So it's super easy to like a post. All you need to do is hover over the post in question, and if you glance your eyes across to the right hand side of the screen, you'll see you have a series of emojis that you can use. So we have a little like just here, we have a heart, we have a laugh, a surprised or shocked face, a sad face, and also an angry face as well. So in this case, I'm going to give this post from Adam a like by clicking the thumbs up icon, and you can see that that registers next to the post. Now, if you're interested in seeing who has reacted to a particular post, if you hover your mouse over the emoji, you will see a list of all of the people who sent a reaction. So super simple to like posts. The other thing you might want to do here is you might want to save certain messages. So for example, Ryan has sent through this trade report. I can see that it's a Word document. And you'll also see as I hover over, I get 3 dots, which gives me various different options when it comes to managing that attachment. So if I wanted to, I could download it, I could open it, so on and so forth. However, at the moment, I just want to save this because I want to read the trade report later. I am far too busy to read the trade report right at this moment, but I don't want the conversation to continue and then at the end of the day have to scroll through lots and lots of chat in order to find that trade report. So I can get around that very simply by just bookmarking it or saving it. So again, hover over the message that you want to bookmark, click on the 3 dots, and you have an option to save this message. Now, once you do save this message, there's no obvious indicator in the conversation that you've done that, but if you want to access all of the messages that you've saved, all you need to do is jump up to where your profile picture is in the top right-hand corner, click on it, and you'll see you have a saved option in here. Now, if we jump to saved, there we go. It's going to show you all of those posts that you've saved in all of those conversations. And it doesn't just save that one post, it saves the conversation, but it will jump you down to the point in that conversation where that post is. So it makes it super easy for you to come back and read this report later on. So don't forget that saved items you can find underneath your profile picture in this saved section.
Now it's worth noting that you can do the reverse. You can unsave messages. So maybe once I've finished reading the trade report, I no longer need that post bookmarked. So what I can do is go back in, I can select the three dots and I can say unsave this message. And now if I jump back up to my saved items, you'll see that it's no longer there. So that's it, very straightforward. I will see you in the next module. Hello everyone and welcome back to our course on Microsoft Teams. We're now getting down to the end of section 2, and in this module I really just want to expand on that idea of posting messages and just show you some of the formatting options you have when you're composing your messages. So if you click in the conversation box at the bottom, in order to see the full formatting options that you have, because currently there's nothing there, if you click the first icon underneath that says Format, it's going to open this much larger window and you have a whole host of options for formatting your messages. So I'm just going to put a quick message into this box and I'm going to add a quick subject into the top here. So sales report, feedback. Now I'm going to go through and apply some formatting options to this message. So it says, firstly, great job on this report, and I'm actually going to mention Ryan in there. I say, I know how much time this took to put together, and I really want to emphasize that point, so I'm going to highlight my text, and I'm going to put it in bold. And again, keyboard shortcuts work, Control B. I've then got underneath, I have some feedback for next month's report. And I'm going to add some text in here that says, at Ben and at Adam, please feel free to contribute also. And maybe I want to make this really stand out in my message, so I'm going to highlight it and I'm going to use the text highlight color and I'm going to say yellow. And then underneath I have 3 points that I want them to think about changing before next month's sales report is put together. And these are going to be a lot easier to read if I put them into some kind of list. So again, I'm going to highlight my text. I'm going to go up to my formatting options and I have a few different things I could do here. I could decrease or increase the indent. I could make them into a bulleted list or a numbered list. So I'm going to say bulleted list, just to make those points a little bit easier. Now you can also see that because I've had spaces in there, I now have some bullet points where I don't need them. So I could just backspace to remove those, or alternatively, I could just click on the bullet icon again, like so. Now for me, I find it a lot easier just to backspace, just to remove them. So some of these other formatting options you're probably reasonably familiar with from other applications such as Word. We have italics, Control I, underline, Control U, and we also have a strike through there as well. We've utilized highlight. We can change our font color in here by selecting from the palette. And we also have a font size option. So if we want to make it large, medium or small, we can adjust it just there. And then essentially we also have some styles available in here. So if this was quite a long message and I wanted to make headings really stand out, I could choose to utilize these styles. You have a clear all formatting button. So again, I can clear all formatting on the entire message or just make a selection and clear the formatting. Our alignment utility is just there, our bullets and our numbering. We have quote marks. So if you want to quote somebody, you might want to put it in quote marks. And we can do things like insert links as well. So here I could say link to Northwind, for example. And let's just type in like so, and I could say insert. And that's actually inserted wherever my cursor was clicked. So you might find that you want to cut and then Control V to paste that link down there. Okay, so very, very simple to put links in. If you want to add some code or a code snippet to your message, you can do that from here. And you also have the option of inserting a horizontal rule line. So let's see where my cursor is clicked, which is just above that link to Northwind. If I click Insert Horizontal Rule, it's just going to separate that link from the main bulk of the email. And as you can see just there, if I press my backspace key, that's going to delete out that horizontal line. And then the final couple of options, you have the option of inserting a table into your message. And again, this is very similar to Word or Excel. You just select how many rows or columns. And if this message is of importance, I can choose to mark it as important. And you'll see it's just going to tag it as important at the top there. And it stands out because it's in red. And then finally on the end, I have an undo and a redo option as well. So lots of different options for adding some formatting into your messages. Now, before we finish up with this module, you'll see at the top here, I have new conversations selected. And if I hover over it, says select a post type. So I could choose new conversation or announcement. So I'm going to cover announcements in the next module. For this one, I just want a new conversation. I'm going to say that everybody can reply to this message. And I now get the option to post in multiple channels. So currently when I click send, this is just going to post in the Northwind Traders general channel. But this is related to the sales report, which is essentially related to the sales pitch as well. So I might want to make sure I post it in the sales pitch channel also. So I'm going to click post in multiple channels. It's telling me I'm posting it to general, and I'm going to jump over here and I'm going to select a channel. And I'm going to say sales pitch, update. And you can now see it's got both of those channels listed in the to field. If I decide after all this work I no longer need this message, there's also a delete button in the top right hand corner. But I'm not going to do that. I want to post this, so I'm going to click on send. And there we go. We have a really nicely formatted message. I have my link, which looks like it's working in there. And if you have a look over in my Teams list, you can see next to General, I now have that little exclamation points. That's showing me there's a new important message in this channel. And if I jump across to Sales Pitch, you'll see that that message is also shown in there because I sent it to multiple channels. So lots of options there for formatting. That's it for this module. I will see you in the next one. Hello everyone and welcome back to our course on Microsoft Teams. We're still down in section 2 and we've been discussing everything related to conversations in Teams. And we've done numerous different things in our conversation thread in the general channel in the Northwind Traders team. Now, something we haven't covered yet is a fairly new feature to Microsoft Teams. When I say new, it did come out last year. They started to roll it out, but I would say it's one of the newer features to be added. And that is announcements. Now, essentially what you can do is you can make an announcement in a channel. And announcements help you to make the conversation stand out in the channel. So the best way to show you this is really just to demonstrate it. So let's jump into creating a new announcement. Now, it's not very obvious where you create a new announcement from, but the eagle-eyed amongst you may remember in the previous module, I actually did touch on it very briefly. So let's click our mouse down here in the Start New Conversation box, and I'm going to jump straight into the formatting icon, because that will open up this larger box with all of my formatting options. Now, if you remember, up here we could select a post type. And in the previous module, when we were looking at formatting, we just did a new conversation. But if I click this drop down, you'll see we also have an option for an announcement. And we get something very different here. So we get a little background, we get a big heading or a headline that we can utilize. And I'm going to type a very quick headline. So this is going to be an announcement related to the Trade Awards 2020. What you'll also see is if you glance over to the right hand side, you can change the color scheme of the background. So you can choose any of these solid fill type colors, Or alternatively, what you could do is you can upload your own background image. So I'm very quickly going to do that. I'm going to click upload an image. I'm just going to select an image that I have saved off to my local drives. And it's quite a thin box that you have to put it in. So I'm just going to do the top of the glasses like so. Click on done. And there we go. I can now add a subheading. So I very quickly filled out my announcement just there, and I'm going to utilize these formatting options. I'm going to apply some formatting to this particular announcement. So I'm going to highlight the date and the location just here, and I'm just going to make that italic. And you can see at the bottom I put voting opens tomorrow, look out for the poll. So we're going to get on to polls a bit later on in this course, so we will add one to this channel relating to the Trade Awards when we get to that section. But for now, I'm fairly happy with how this looks. You could go through and change some of these options. So again, you have everyone can reply or just you and moderators. And you can also post in multiple channels if you want to. So I'm actually going to put this in all of the channels that I have for North Wind. And I'm going to click on the send button. So you can see that that announcement has now been posted to the general channel. It's also posted to the marketing channel and the sales pitch channel. And you'll see it's denoted as an announcement because it does look different from the other posts and messages. And it also has this little announcements icon next to it. So this little loud hailer or speaker in a red circle. So essentially, anything important that you want to stand out from the other conversations, you can turn it into an announcement. That's it for this module. I will see you in the next one. Hello everyone, this is Deb and welcome back to our course on Microsoft Teams. In this module, I'm going to talk to you about the use of tags within your conversations. Now, tags let you quickly reach a group of people all at once, so they're a really good efficiency tip. So with tags, you can categorize people based on various different attributes of your choosing. So it might be you want to categorize people by their role, or maybe a specific project they work on, maybe a location, something along those lines. And you can assign tags to people so that if you want to reach a specific group of people, all you need to do is use the at mention followed by the tag. So let me show you what I mean by that. Now there's a couple of different ways that you can look at your tags. So I'm going to go up to my Northwind Traders team. I'm going to click the three dots and I'm going to jump across into Manage Team. I'm going to expand members and guests as well so we can see the full team. Now you'll see here that we have a column for tags. And if I hover over, it says notify a group of people all at once by mentioning a tag. And you'll see that I've already assigned some tags to the members and the guests. So I have 3 people that belong to the leadership tag. I have 2 people that belong to the sales team tag and 1 person that belonged to the admin tag. And you'll see as I hover over each person, I can just click on the tag and it will allow me to select another tag to add that person to or create a brand new tag. So if I wanted to, I could create a tag called marketing. I can say create marketing tag and it automatically assigns that tag to myself. And I can go down and I can also assign that tag to somebody else. So let's assign it to our guest. I'm going to click. Select marketing, apply, and they're now also part of that marketing tag. Alternatively, what I could do is if I click the 3 dots next to Northwind Traders, I have a manage tags option in here as well. So again, this just shows me all of the tags that I currently have, and I can go in and I can create a new tag from here as well. So very simple to create tags and also assign them to other people. So now, if I'm in my general channel, maybe I just want to send a message to all of the members of the leadership tag. All I need to do is click in my new conversation box, @ symbol because we're doing an @ mention, and as I start to type the tag, it's going to find it. So you can see here it says leadership, 3 people have this tag. I can select it and I can then type my message. Like so. Send that through, and then only the people who belong to that tag will be notified that they've been @mentioned. So it really is a great way of increasing your efficiency if you need to send messages to one particular group of people. So it's worth taking a look at the members of your team, maybe creating some tags and assigning those tags to different people. As I said, again, it could be that you create tags which denote people's roles or which projects they're part of or particular task teams, things like that. Now also remember here that if we jump into Northwind Traders again, go to Manage Team and jump across to that Settings tab, you'll see at the bottom there is a setting for tags, and we did come into here previously, but you can here specify who can add tags. So I've got mine set to all members, so anybody can, or you could set it to owners only. So if you want to have some control as to who can create tags so they don't get out of control and you end up having 50 different tags, you could set it to owners only in there, which is exactly what I'm going to do. So that's it. That's how tags work. Fairly straightforward. I will see you in the next module. Hello everyone and welcome back to our course on Microsoft Teams. We're still in section 2, taking a look at all of the elements of having conversations in chat in Teams. And what we haven't yet looked at is something fairly fundamental, something you're probably going to want to do a reasonable amount, and that is attaching files and pictures and sending those through in a chat conversation. Now again, this is a very, very simple process, and I'm going to show you a couple of different examples. And I'm also going to show you how you can access any files that have been shared in your conversation quickly and easily. So again, we're staying in this general channel in the Northwind Traders team, and I'm going to click in my Start a New Conversation box. And I'm just very simply going to share a file with the team. And I'm very simply just going to share a file with the other members of this channel. So you'll see underneath we have the second icon along, which is the paperclip icon. It says attach when I hover over, so let's click that button. And we get a few different options. So you have the option of selecting a file from directly within OneDrive, and you also have an option to upload a file from your computer. So we're going to do both of these options. So first of all, let's jump to OneDrive, and I can see all of the files that I have sitting in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send to the channel the trade report feedback document. So I've collated all of the feedback from the different team members. I've added it into a Word document, which I'm now going to send back to Ryan. So I'm going to select the trade report and I'm going to say upload a copy. That's now uploaded. I want to direct this to Ryan, so we're going to @mention Ryan. And I'm going to add a message. Once I'm happy, I'm going to click Send. And away that goes. Really, really simple to do. Now, as I mentioned before, when you do receive an attachment in chat, you will get these 3 little buttons on the end, which will allow you to do various different things. So if you want to make any edits, you can open in the desktop version of Word if you have that installed on your PC, or you can open it in Word online from within Microsoft 365. You can also download the document to your PC, get a link to it, so on and so forth. So a few different options for you in there. So I can see that Ryan's now replied to my message and he's asked me, do I have the trade chart? Now the trade chart is something that I have saved off as a picture onto my local drives. So I'm going to reply to Ryan. I'm going to say yes. Let me just grab it for you. I'm going to click on the attach button, and this time I'm going to say upload from my computer. I can see my graphic just there. I'm going to select it and click on open. And there we go. That chart's now been sent through to Ryan, and if he wants to see a bigger copy of it, if you just click on the chart, it's going to give you a much larger size. So super easy to send files back and forth. And it's not only just Word documents and images that we can send through. I can jump back into Attach, go to OneDrive, and this time I'm going to select this Excel document, Sales Figures. I'm going to upload a copy, and I'm going to use those tags that I've set up to direct this towards the sales team. So again, I'm going to start to type in sales, and team should recognize it, which it does. So sales team, enter to send. So very straightforward, very simple. Now, it might be that during the course of a conversation, particularly a very long ongoing conversation, or conversations, I should say, within a channel, it might be that you just want to see all of the files that have been shared back and forth between the members of your channel. So instead of having to scroll up through tens or maybe even hundreds of messages trying to pick out the files that you want, you will find at the top here, we currently have posts selected, but you also have a Files tab. So if you click on Files, that's going to show you all of the files, documents, items that you've shared within this channel. And what you'll see when you come into Files is this is kind of set up very much like OneDrive if you utilize OneDrive. So from here, I could start to do things like I could create Word documents, Excel workbooks, PowerPoints, so on and so forth, from directly within this Files area. So if I was to select Word document, it's going to ask me for a new name. I'm going to say Shortlist for Trade Awards, Create. And it's going to essentially jump me across to Word Online, but I'm still contained within the Teams browser. So I can really work on a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet, PowerPoint presentation from directly within Teams. Now, I'm not going to type anything too extraordinary in here. I'm going to put in some random text just so that we have something in here. And as with all of the online applications, you'll notice if you click on File, there is no Save button. We've already saved the document. And because we're working online in Microsoft 365, your document is automatically saved, hence why there is no dedicated Save button. Now, if I click on Close to close this down, it's going to take me back to Microsoft Teams into my Files list. And you can see that it's added that document there, Shortlist for Trade Awards. So don't forget that you can create documents from directly within this Files area. You can also upload any documents that you have saved off locally. You can synchronize with OneDrive. You can select Copy Link. You can download any documents just by selecting them and then choosing your option. And you can also add additional cloud storage. So it might be that you're not necessarily using OneDrive. Maybe you're using something like Dropbox or Google Drive for your cloud storage. You have the opportunity to add your cloud storage from this point. So all you need to do is select whichever one is relevant to you, and then it'll ask you to log in and just follow through the wizard and the prompts in order to make those files accessible from within Teams. It's also worth noting that when you click on any of the documents that you have in here, so let's just click the tick next to Shortlist for Trade Awards, you get some slightly different options in this top menu bar. So again, you can choose to open this particular document in Word Online, as we just saw before. You can choose to open it in Word, the desktop version, or you can choose to just edit it from within Teams. You can delete from here as well, and you can also pin specific documents to the top. So you can see here, I've just pinned that document there and it's at the top. So if you have anything particularly important or a document that you access all the time, you might want to think about doing that. Now, I don't want that pinned. I'm just going to select it again. I'm going to go to Edit Pin and say Unpin. So lots of different options that you have for each of your documents in here as well. Now this one here, make this a tab. We haven't covered tabs yet, and I've been purposely leaving this out because we are going to cover that in a later section. So hopefully that gives you an idea of how to attach and send files in a conversation, and also where you can go in order to access all of those files and some of the options that you have. That's it for this module. I will see you in the next one. Hello everyone, welcome back to our course on Microsoft Teams. In this section, we've been talking about conversations, and our conversation so far has mainly been confined to within a team and within a channel. And I've been chatting with the various different members of that channel. I've been using @mentions to target some of my replies. And in other cases, I've just been putting messages out there for the entire team to respond to. So that moves us on nicely to private messaging. So at the moment in this Teams channel, the general channel, I'm talking with all the members of my team. Now it might be that I want to just have a one-on-one conversation with someone, or maybe I want to just have a small group conversation outside of these team channels. So if you want to start private messages, you need to jump across to the dedicated chat tab. So if you look in this left-hand menu, you'll see the second option down is chat. And you can see here, I already have one private chat going with Adam. And this was from a few days ago. And you can see I sent him the sales presentation, which might have been a confidential document, which is why I didn't want to put it into the channel. Now, as we saw previously, at the top here, we have chat, which is currently highlighted. And we also have a files tab. So any documents, files, presentations that have been shared in your private chat will be listed underneath here, and you can see that there is that sales presentation, really nice and easy for me to access. But let's jump back to chat for the time being. So if I want to start a new private chat, all I need to do is jump up to this new chat icon that you'll see to the left of the search or the command box and click on new chat. So it opens a new chat window, and it's asking me to type in the name of the person or the group of people that I want to chat with. So I'm going to chat with Ryan, and I'm going to type him a message. So as you can see, I'm now into my private conversation with Ryan, and I'm just checking to make sure that the feedback that I gave him on something that he'd taken a while to put together didn't come across as overly critical. So this might be something that I didn't want to put in the regular chat channel, that I wanted to discuss with him in private. So it's worth noting that private conversations are not just one-to-one conversations. You can add up to 9 people into a private chat conversation. It's just more for things that you don't necessarily want to discuss in the open in your team channels. Now, if I start a new chat conversation here, you'll see here that it opens up the new chat. And if I then decide that I no longer want this chat, I have my 3 dots and I can just say discard, which will get rid of that chat. And the same thing with more established chats. If I click the 3 dots, I have a few different options in here. So I could choose to pin this chat to the top if it's an important chat conversation. I could also add to my favorite contacts if I wanted to. And you'll see next to where we have recent chats, we have a contacts tab. So this is where I have my favorite contacts, and I can click the 3 dots and I can add a contact to this group as well. So let's add in Vicky, like so. You also have a link at the bottom to create a new contact group. So again, I could click that and I could maybe call this leadership. So I now might want to add some people into my leadership group. I can click the 3 dots, add contact to this group. I'm going to add Adam. And I'm also going to add Ben, like so. So not dissimilar to Outlook in many ways. So let's jump back to recent, and I'm actually going to come in and I'm just going to unpin that conversation. Now, one interesting little option that you have within here is this notify when available option. So essentially what I could do is I can see from his status symbol here that Adam is currently away. But if I have something really important to talk to him about, I might want to be notified as soon as he comes available. So really straightforward to have private conversations. And something that leads on quite nicely from this is what we'll be discussing in the next section when we take a look at video and audio calling. If you look in the top right hand corner, you can see that we have a video call button and an audio call button as well. So if I'm in the middle of a conversation with Adam and then we decide that this might be easier if we just quickly do a video call, we can very easily convert our typed chat conversation into a video call by clicking this button. I'm not going to do that now. We're going to save that for section 3. But the final thing that I will show you that you can do here is that you have an add people button. So if I want to now pull Vicky into this conversation, I can very quickly add Vicky like so, and it will create a new conversation for myself, Adam and Vicky. So super simple to navigate around the chat area. That's it for this module. I will see you in the next one. Hello everyone and welcome back to our course on Microsoft Teams. We're down into the last module of section 2. This has been a very long section, but we've made it all the way to the end now, and really the final thing to discuss in this section is something called messaging extensions. Now that might not mean anything to you, but basically what it means is that there are lots of different apps that you can add into Teams which really extend the capabilities of Teams. And adding additional apps really kind of boosts the power of the types of things that you can do within Teams and makes it a really powerful, useful application. Now I'm going to show you a couple of examples now, just to let you know we are going to kind of touch back on this in one of the later sections when we talk about things like bots and connectors. It's all kind of related, but I really want this to just kind of introduce to you the idea of integrating apps into Teams. So we're in our general channel in the Northwind Traders team. I'm going to click in my Start a New Conversation box, and in my icons underneath, if I click the 3 dots, or hover over the 3 dots I should say, you can see I get a little screen tip there that says Messaging Extensions. And if I click it, it's asking me to find an app, or I can view all the apps, and it's suggesting some useful things for me. Now, if you remember further up in this conversation, when we were talking about the trade awards that are coming up, I asked all the members of this channel to start nominating people. So maybe I now have a short list of all the people nominated from each department, and I want to send out a poll to the rest of this channel and get people to vote on that final shortlist. So what I can do is I can utilize a message extension. Unfortunately, one of the apps within Microsoft that allows you to create polls is being suggested to me, and that is Microsoft Forms. So let's click on Forms. So you can see now essentially I'm in a window that's utilizing Microsoft Forms, and it's asking me to create a new poll. And first of all, I need to start out with my question that I want to pose to my audience. So there's my question. I can now fill out my options. Now you can add more than 2 options. You just click on the Add Option button. And let's add one more, like so. Now, if you want people to be able to select more than one, you can utilize this multiple answers slider. Now, in this case, I only want people to be able to vote for one person, so I'm going to keep that turned off. And I'm going to say next. So it now gives me a preview of the poll that I'm creating. I'm going to submit my vote like so. And I'm going to say send to send that poll out to the channel. And there it is. So it's now posted in that channel, and people can go in and they can vote for whoever it is that they want to vote for. Now, if I scroll down, you'll also be able to see the current tally. So I can see that 2 people have voted for Ben and 1 person has voted for Ryan. So that's a really nice way of being able to gather responses in Forms by using that little message extension. Now we have a whole host of other extensions that you can add in. And you can see here that Adam's actually put a message in that he's struggling a bit with the pivot table in the sales report. And he says, does anyone have a video I can watch, a tutorial video? So what I might want to do is if I click on my three dots for my messaging extensions, I could go straight to YouTube. And you can see here that I haven't actually added this app to my Teams. So this is what it's going to look like if you haven't already added it. So I'm going to click on Add. And it now lets me browse for YouTube videos. So I'm going to go to a great company that I know, Simon Says It. I'm going to say pivot tables. And there we go, Excel crash course, learn pivot tables in 1 hour. So that sounds like it's going to be perfect for Adam, and I'm going to send that video straight through. And you can now see that because I've actually added that app in, I now have the little YouTube icon as one of my icons listed across the bottom. So it makes it super simple for me to add any further videos in. Let's click the three dots again. Maybe I want to take a look at these stocks. And once again, I need to add this app in. So then I can enter in a stock symbol. So I'm going to say IAG. And I'm going to select it, and it's going to send that information through. And once again, you can see that because I've added that, I now have that icon added to my little row of icons at the bottom. So you can go through, and as I said, we've got some suggestions just here which might be useful to you. I also have a weather option I might want to add in here, so I'm going to add that one as well. I'm going to type in the weather for Toronto. I'm going to select it, and that immediately goes through as well. So these apps really just add a richness to your conversation experience. And if we click on the three dots again, these aren't the only ones you have access to. If you click on more apps, you'll see there are so many of them in here. So it really depends what you're going to find useful, what your team is going to find useful. And you'll find lots of apps in here that you've probably used separately. So things like Zoom, you can add that into your Teams, or even WebEx if you utilize that. You have things like Evernote if you take notes in Evernote, SurveyMonkey, you have Adobe Creative Cloud. There are so many for you to have a little browse through. So I definitely advise you to have a little look through all of these, and they are divided down into different categories. So for example, if we click on productivity, you'll have all of the apps that are related to productivity. So it really is just a simple case of clicking them and adding them into Teams. Now I said there is a little bit more to it than that, which we're going to get onto when we discuss bots and setting up tabs and things like that in one of the later sections. But hopefully that just gives you a nice introduction as to the types of messaging extensions that you can add into Teams and why you might find those useful. That's it for this module and for this section. We are now moving into section 3, where we're going to talk all about video and audio meetings. So please join me for that.
If you're not a subscriber, click down below to subscribe so you get notified about similar videos we upload. To get 4 free courses in Excel, QuickBooks, Microsoft Project, and Photoshop, click over there. And click over there to see more videos from Simon Says It.